Greetings, beautiful souls. So this is going to be my attempt at recording lesson 3 for our brushworks, which is flowers. I would just like to say a disclaimer that this technique is actually very limited. So I tried making some of the petal shapes, as you can see, and you would need several attempts to make a certain shape. You need several brush impressions. For example, this big petal. So for me, it's actually counterproductive. The idea of brush forms is that you take no time in making your artworks for nature studies. It's good for leaves like this, but when you get to some species of flowers, it's actually very limiting. You can only do a few flower types. So we're going to try making our petal shapes. See, I tried to make a circular petal, but it doesn't really work as well. So for some petal shapes, for some flowers, I think it's better if you really just paint. Okay, so let's start with our first petal shape. It's going to be this one. It's like a heart. So we actually did that with leaves before, but now we're going to try and do petal. So to do this, it's going to stack your brush. 1 and then 2. So that's the brush shape. To make this really large one, it's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brush impressions. So let's just do that really quick. So we need 1, 2, 3, and the top we need 1, 2, 2. So that, and it has this awkward shape. So as opposed to just using your brush, this, and then you press, and then you release. See? So there's a difference again between a brush stroke and a brush impression. So when you're making flowers, we have different shapes. So going to have the disc shape and the cup or cone shape. Let's try the cup shape first. So you would see this with buds, small flowers, and with all the and with flowers with petals facing upwards. So it looks like a cup. That. And then you have the flowers that are shaped like a plate or a disc. So the petals are arranged like this. And then you have flowers that are like a ball, and you start at the middle and you work your way out. Okay? So because of the restrictions and the brush forms, we are going to do the cup and the disc. Can't do the ball. Sorry. I tried several times to make other shapes, but again. Okay, so moving on, let's try making our bud. So the easiest one is just one brush form of this. So that's your main flower, and then you change your color into your green, your leaves, and you make 2 more brush impressions at the base. So 1 and 2. So it looks like the bud is still enclosed. Let's put a little stalk. There. That's your bud. That's a single brush form enclosed in 2 leaf brush forms. Let's try 2. So this is one brush form and another brush form. And then change again your color into the color of your leaves, and you just add 3 of those leaves. 1, 2, 3. So those are the petals and those are the sepals. The sepals, then stop. So those are your buds. Next, we're going to move on to our oh, by the way, you can also make this the other way. Let's try it with the one. And you're going to hold your brush like this, so the point is down. So you'll have a rounded edge. And then we take our green color and basically the same. You make your base. 1, 2, and then a little stop. Okay, so that one is if you want your flower bud to have a rounded end. So let's try it with 2. 1 and 2, and then you get your green for your sepals. 1, 2, 3, and then a line. So those are your cone shapes. Next, we're going to move on to our 3-petaled flowers. So we have 1, and you can do this like 2, 3, or you can have them a little bit further apart. So that's 1, 2, 3, and the last one is you can have 3 of them next to each other. So it's going to, hi baby, it's going to be like this. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So those are 3 types. Let's try doing it the other way. Hold your brush the opposite direction. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then another one slightly farther apart. 1, 2, 3, and last 1, 2, oops, 2, and 3. So there are the formations, and now we get our leaf color just using green, and 1, 2, down, and 1, 2, down, or you can make 3 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, or maybe you can just have the stalk and then have actual leaves there, or you can have your sepals completely perpendicular. So it's 1, and then 2, and then a line. Again, we do it here. 1, 2, sorry, 2, and 1. Okay, yes. So next so those are our cup shapes. Now let's try the dish shape. So you have your 3-petal flowers, 4-petal flowers. So the 3-petal flower is like the 3 trifoliate leaves we did last time, but let's Let's try them again. 3 petaled ones. You can just imagine like 3 points. We're going to put the tip of your brush. 1 and 2 and 3. Now, of course, it looks awkward because, as I said, it's only using one type flower. It's only using one brush form, so we can make it thicker. So it's actually, even though it's a 3-petaled flower, you already have used up 6 strokes. And if it's still not thick enough for you, just going to make like a pointed tip at the end. So this is already 9 strokes. So you see the difference. That's a 3-petaled flower. Whereas, so this is the brush form. Let's try a brush stroke. So just make a small triangle just to guide you. This is a brush stroke. So you just press and release. So you see it's easier with a brush stroke rather than a brush form or brush impression. The thing is, I don't know if Marian Hudson continued the lesson because I only have a copy of the elementary brush forms. Who knows? Maybe she has a lesson on brush forms. So that's 3. Let's try a 4 one. I'm drawing the little guides, but if you practice enough, you actually don't need them. I'm just doing it for visual purposes so that you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And let's make another one because I want to speed pattern. For brush forms. So we try to make this time a 4 petaled one, but on the other side it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Make it thicker. Okay. So next, we're going to do the 5-leaf brush impression. So it's just stamping. Again, we're at this type of flowers. So you can draw your guide like this. Looks like a star. And brush impression, brush impression, brush impression. And run out of water. Brush impression. And brush impression. So that's a 5 one. Okay. So what about the stroke? So for brush strokes, again, it's just press and release. So press, release, press and release, press and release, press and release, press and release. Ta-da! And then we move on to 6 petals. So you start off with first triangle and then you just add the other leaves to the side. Okay. Let's try to make a a small triangle first. I'm sorry, the baby is crying, so it's gonna be a bit loud. So that's one brush form, two brush form, and running out of water again. And we want this. Ta-da! And the third brush form. And then you just add the other 3 petals in between. There we go. It's a bit awkward because I'm trying to move the brush. In the brush form, you're trying not to move the paper. If I was doing a brush stroke, I'd be moving the paper around to where I'm most comfortable. Let's try the 5-petaled flower, but it's actually made up of 10 brush forms later. I'm going to pause this video because the baby needs attention. Thank you! Wait lang! Hey, welcome back. So, we're going to continue our brush forms. We were at the 5-petal part, so I will be loading my brush with color. And we are going to do, it's actually 10 brush impressions. So you mark your 5 points, and then you make one brush form, and then another brush form. And I'm just going to rotate my paper. One brush form, another brush form, brush form, brush form, and last one, brush form, brush form, 1 and 2. So those are it's a 5-petal flower. Okay, so next let's move on to the 6-petal one. If you're using a grid paper, which that's the suggested paper used in the manual, just free to download. Just Google Brush Forms by Marian Hudson. So you imagine one of the squares as your center, and then you're going to make a mark here, 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 here. So those are 6 points. So you make your brush impression 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so because I did it wrong, I'm just gonna put another one here. So it's actually 7. This one is a 7 one. I'm sorry. That was me. That was my bad. Let's do that again with a bigger paper. One, 2, 3, 4. So far, so good. 5, 6. Yep, that's it. There's your 6-petal flower. And then that's basically the main idea. You just imagine a circle for your center, and then you keep adding on to it. And if we make a an 8-1, an 8-petaled flower, and then you add things in between. It's gonna look like a sunflower. So let's try it in the bigger paper. Just gonna make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay. So I'm gonna put the brush on here. And brush on here, here, and here. And then here, here, okay. And then let's add the in-betweens. And we can add in between those in-betweens. Just like tabbing it. I'm not pressing the entire brush, just the tip of it is making an impression of the tip of the brush. This one is the hard angle. So you can tell which angle I'm having trouble with because I'm right-handed. So if I were you, I would rotate the page, but if you can't, just keep practicing making brush forms at different angles. So I'm really having trouble with holding my brush like this. This is the tricky angles for me. I can't. So I have to keep practicing this angle because clearly it's not a teardrop as opposed to when I do this with my right hand. So just keep practicing. And then you take maybe a brown. So if you're going to paint like sunflower or a daisy, you need a yellow color for the center. Here. If you're going to use a sunflower, so you can try using red, yellow, and orange for the petals. Okay, let's try doing a combination of all of it we've learned. Let's just make like a border. So I'm gonna get some of my blue. And a bud here. Maybe a double bud here. And then I'm going to make a blue violet 3-petal. Oops, no more water. See, that's what happens when you run out of water in your brush. It's not going to make a good impression. I'm going to sample 3 petals. Another 3-petal here. And then let's go with a 5 petal flower. Oops, running out of water again. Just do this one. Stamp, 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 and stamping the brush. And the angles I'm not comfortable with. Stamp, stamp the brush. One, another one. Stamp, stamp. Stamp and stamp. Stamp, 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 and stamp. Okay, and now we add our our leaves. So we add stamp, stamp, that's stamp, stamp, stamp. Just gonna snap to your leaf. And then we'll just remember our leaf exercise last time. Just making this long stalk. Okay. And then we'll add our leaves. And put them alternating them. And this one. Leaf there. And for this one, I think I'll make another one. And then I'm just gonna stamp my brush. Stamp again. Add more leaves. And oops. Yeah, that's what your branch is looking like. And there you go. That's a combination of flowers and leaves. Next, let's try. I'm going to show you a fall, maybe a maple leaf. Maple leaves are actually quite easy to do. First, I'm just gonna get. I'll show you. I'm gonna get yellow. No more water. Just gonna get yellow first, and then you get your red just at the end. So your brush has both red and yellow. It's called double loading your brush, and it's gonna look something like this. So first, maybe a bit more red in there, and then we're gonna make a maple leaf. So maple leaves have 5 main points, and then each leaf has like a pseudo point. It's gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And another main points. Let's make first our main leaves. And it's not a perfect star because you're going to have like a stalk. Okay. And one more here. So load up the yellow again. And some of the red. Sip. And then cyan. So it's not a perfect maple leaf, but it's not because of the technique. It's more of my inexperience with the technique. There. And it's gonna be a stop. So that's what it looks like. So again, it's just a combination of this 3 points. That one, but you did that 5 times. So that's it. On our next lesson, we will just be following the actual exercises you find on Marian Hudson's book, Brushwork, Elementary Brush Forms. It's free. You can download it. Just Google the book. So thank you for watching and goodbye. I think we're going to do insects next time.